I think they should too.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you, a little piece in me.
Well, welcome to Talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio.
How's it going, big guy?
Oh, good. I am your host, Brendan Trainor, and I am kind of a big guy, sometimes in the wrong places, my co-host is Leland Faegre.
But they weren't referring to you in the
the big guy. No, they weren't referring to me in the emails.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought it might have been.
I know. I don't take 50% of people's income either.
That either.
No.
Yeah. I just couldn't resist.
Yeah. So we, talking truth. Let's just start off by saying that early voting has begun. It is important that Nevada not turn blue again.
Boy, is it ever. By the way, every single state now is voting.
Right.
All 50 states.
All 50? Mm. So you can come down and vote here. We're located in the Reno Town Mall, and the polls are open. And you can come by and say hello to us. We have a
that too.
Open studio, KCKQ.
And there's security here.
Yeah. So you can give us a wave or sit down, and we have some easy chairs there if you want. Or you can talk to the venerable Eddie Floyd. He's here today.
He is also here. Yeah.
Yes. So we're, let's make this a party, a real party for the next couple of weeks, and get Donald Trump reelected, or keep Joe Biden and his son out of the White House.
On his heels. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm having fun. I can't imagine it being any more fun than this, frankly.
It is. It's a riot every single day.
And it's going to be a letdown, as we get, beyond the election. It can't be nearly as much fun as it is right now. Did you hear about that cookie poll in Pennsylvania? There's a bakery there.
Uh-huh.
And she tried this in 2016 for Hillary, and it didn't go off that well for Hillary. But this time around, it's 4-1 Trump over Biden.
In Pennsylvania?
In other words, you can select a cookie in the appropriate party colors, and he's winning 4-1 in that
Did you see the crowd he had? Well, not only here in Carson City on Sunday night, but down in Arizona, in Prescott, Arizona, there was a huge crowd.
Yeah, and it wasn't comfortable, I don't think. It didn't look very warm, and he's in his normal suit and jacket and everything. I mean, that's...
Standing on stage for an hour.
And by the way, I was attending a celebration for my daughter's birthday somewhere else, not in my own home on Sunday when he was here in Carson City. And I got to see him for the very first time.
Oh, okay.
I say that because obviously I've been a fan since he came down the escalator.
Right.
But I had never seen on a high-resolution television his performance in these rallies. It was amazing.
Right.
I was absolutely spellbound, and I couldn't be more affectionate towards our president than I am. But I was able to actually see everything that he projects from that lectern. It was an amazing experience to watch.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
I never lie. It's easier to tell the truth than to lie.
Why don't you vote for Trump?
That's why we have our show here, Talking Truth to Power.
Yeah. And, we were on, as far as the email scandals go, Hunter's laptop, I mean, that was totally unexpected. But Talking Truth to Power, we've been on this story, for months, if not a couple of years. And we knew all about and we've told our audience about Ukrainian prosecutor Shulkin and pressure to fire Shulkin, which came 10 days after Shulkin had confiscated several houses belonging to the Burisma owner, Mykola Zlosevsky.
That one of those was a doozy. Did you see that aerial shot of that?
Yeah,
home?
yes,
Oh my
I did.
God.
So the idea that he was not prosecuting, he was corrupt and not prosecuting.
Right.
And then the whole debunk thing is because of they started the investigation, the British froze 25 million in assets belonging to him or Burisma, and that's the first thing they hired Hunter for. They gave him $2 million, about 10%, and he went to the Kerry crime family.
Yeah. There's a bunch of crime families, as it turns out. there's a whole bunch of them.
And they called up the Brits, and they got the freeze lifted, and that's how it was debunked. Mm-hmm. So
and this is what the propaganda media is not sharing.
No.
With the American people.
No.
Yeah.
They are trying to. Of course, the laptop itself, this was, first of all, it was a Russian disinformation campaign.
Yeah, but that's now been debunked.
Right.
Officially debunked.
Right.
With Radcliffe in front of a television camera, no less.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't issue a memo. He had to be seen as he
Yes,
debunked.
That's right. And Schiff, he was on there sanctimoniously, and Clapper, who's a known liar, and also once testified that the Russians are genetically disposed to manipulation, and in Congress, he was lying, and he even called it this is still called Russia the Soviet Union, or appeared to. So these people are living in a fantasy world, but it's a very lucrative fantasy world for them, as we're finding out as we keep delving into these emails.
Well, some of it is not fantasy, as it turns out.
Right, yeah.
In fact, Drudge has just published an image of Rudy Giuliani that apparently has been leaked to discredit the legitimacy of his role in fighting these allegations. I can't share it with our listening audience, but I invite you to go to Drudge Report and look at the main story there. It's quite an image. It's just turned up here right now. And then, of course, there was the 60 Minutes event a couple of days ago where Leslie Stahl apparently revealed that she's part of the state establishment as well.
Hey, all you entrepreneurs out there. Whether you have a small business or work from home, LaRue Press offers a virtual office and business address.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ,
a Lotus broadcast station.
the power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre. And, I can't wait for the debate tomorrow night, even though, again, it's been staged. Is this moderator, Kristen Welker, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a deep state Democrat operative. She was caught feeding the questions to Hillary Clinton's communications director during one interview.
I know. And it's on tape. I mean, there's no question that it happened.
Right.
We can watch it as it happened.
Right. So, and she was invited to the White House for Obama's Christmas party. So you can't find anybody in the media that isn't somehow connected to the deep state.
And trying to pull the rug
to moderate these things, right?
From under Donald Trump.
Right. And, it's just notorious, but it's like we've always said, about Trump. He's the great clarifier. If nothing else,
Yeah.
if nothing else, he reveals
Yeah.
what's hidden behind the
And
curtain.
he has to do that.
Right.
He's left no choice but to
Right.
throw his own punches,
Right.
And to consider the fact that they're not even going to have any kind of discussion about foreign policy
I know.
in these two debates.
Well, they're going to have 15 minutes anyway. I think
Well, it's not as
national security or something, but the whole debate was supposed to be centered around foreign policy.
Right.
Right. So they're just going to rehash COVID-19, and they're going to rehash.
There's no reason to rehash much of what they did in that first debate. But I'll tell you this: I think that what Trump is going to do is take his time, like Pence did in his debate with Harris.
I hope so.
use his response time to issue or to discuss issues that aren't on the agenda.
I think he should. Yeah.
And I don't think they can say anything.
I enjoyed the first debate. I mean, like I said,
did
I
too.
compared it to a WWE wrestling
It was
event.
a street fight.
Yeah, it was. But of course, the suburban women are upset that he wasn't polite enough.
Oh yeah. The suburban women.
They want to go back to brunch. That's what it is. They want Biden elected
right.
so they can all go back to brunch.
Pinky up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mimosa and
Yeah.
crumpets,
Yep. You're right.
So, but the country needs more than that, It really does, and Trump is at least trying to get things shaken up and to reveal what's really going on behind the scenes. And now that we have these emails out, we also can see now. Nobody's mentioning it, but Joe Biden was actually named again by name in the Ukraine prosecutor's current investigation.
Yep.
So I'd like to see somebody name that, but maybe they don't realize that he has been.
Now the question for me is: did the FBI sit on that laptop?
Right. Yeah. I mean, either they were incompetent and some clerk filed it away.
Or it's a deep state operative?
Yeah. Or else they knew what was on it and they sat on it.
Yeah.
And they could have brought it up during the impeachment.
Which would have
Obviously verified everything that was being said.
and would have obviated the need for the impeachment because
Yeah.
it would have just blown away.
Now, was the whole impeachment to try to cut Trump or the people off from learning the truth about what Biden was doing in the
That's
Ukraine?
another thought. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, never mind China. We still don't know exactly how they enriched themselves in China.
And the FBI and State Department's complicity into all of this.
Yes.
Because a lot of the revelations here is going to be about their role in keeping this under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
Because effectively that was Clinton's State Department.
Right. Yes.
And FBI.
Right. And it's just business as usual for these people. If it's so, what is Durham doing? I mean, apparently he only has a couple of weeks to put out some kind of report, and supposedly he's investigating the Clinton Foundation and all this. But gosh, we really could stand for some clarification from Durham as well.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have that luxury.
No. So, and then of course, whether or not people are going to get a stimulus or, some kind of relief. A lot of people are going to be evicted or whatever if they don't do something for them, and it's not their fault. And they already took care of the big corporations and transferred all the wealth from the middle class to the corporate boardrooms with the first stimulus. And then I remember after the first stimulus, Jack Tapper, who has grown a little bit of a conscience over there at CNN, he
A little bit.
Yeah. He confronted Pelosi, and she said, hold on, don't get excited. That's what she said. We're going to get something done. And then 3 months later, she comes on and says, well, you should pray. You should pray that we get something done.
She is something else.
I know. So she just doesn't want the checks to go out with Donald Trump's name on it. She
That's all
doesn't
it
want
is,
him to be able to say that he helped get the stimulus through.
And proof of that is that Senate Democrats this morning in the House blocked the GOP $500 billion coronavirus aid bill.
Mm-hmm.
So talks are continuing, but they're
Yeah.
still trying to obviate the need for any stimulus to the American people.
Right. At least another $1,200 check or something to tide people over.
Yep.
But
Get them through election night.
yeah. So
They're going to need it.
yeah. So so we have another Democratic operative doing this, the third debate, Savannah Guthrie, who spent 20 minutes attacking the president. You know, she's married to Michael Feldman,
Uh-huh.
a Democratic Party consultant whose service to the Democrats goes back to Al Gore's presidential campaign.
He's Jewish, isn't he?
Well, he happens to be Jewish, yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the mere fact that there are so many Jews in positions of power it doesn't really mean that they are acting in concert or have an agenda, of course. And you know, she's an immigrant. She came from Australia, born in Australia, and who would have thought that a nice foreign woman like that could marry someone from this tiny minority that comprises about 2% of the population,
Well, you're saying she's,
located mostly in a couple of northeastern cities,
so you're saying she's ambitious.
and find, you know, instant success as a major media and political figure. I mean, only in America can you have this immigration story, folks. I mean, it's amazing.
Only in America.
Yep. So I don't know about Kristen. I don't know whether she has any ties, but you know, the besides what is going on with the emails, because you know, we're finding out that Hunter Biden was on a Skype call with a 14-year-old Chinese girl in the nude, and Giuliani sent that
With
over
a crack
to,
pipe in his mouth, apparently.
and
This poor bastard. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you just have to feel sorry for this guy in a sense, because he's just
and you know, they're talking
He's a
about
loser.
they're talking about how, well, he's a loser that lives in a $12,500 a month
Well, if you
condominium
add the context-
and drives a $125,000 sports car.
So you're
That's
saying if
kinda
you add the
loser.
context of wealth, it changes everything. Apparently, it does for him too.
Yeah, wealthier is healthier. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, but so he's on this Skype call in the nude with a underage woman, apparently. Of course, we haven't seen
14
these pictures.
by,
Yeah,
by some accounts.
Yeah,
14 years of age.
yeah. So and the
Does it
Attorney General of Delaware is kind of hot potatoed it back over to the FBI.
Do
He
the
doesn't-
Chinese know this?
You know, I mean, it was a Chinese girl,
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
yeah. And then, well, we also have Mr. Jeffrey Toobin.
Toobin?
Yeah, that's his name.
Well, that's become a verb now.
Yes. You mean to Toobin someone?
that-
Yeah. So he was Toobining himself.
Yeah, that'll become a verb.
And on another, it wasn't Skype this time. It was a Zoom business call, and you know, you might give him a pass. I mean, he's such a boomer. He says he muted the call. He muted the Zoom call. I mean, apparently he didn't know that there's a difference between sound and video. You know?
Well, he obviously wasn't familiar with the program.
No. And you might want to give him a pass, but apparently he's another lecher. I mean,
Well, he's with CNN. I mean,
yeah.
what did you expect from him?
He had an affair with and knocked up the daughter of another journalist, Jeff Greenfield, over at
Greenfield's daughter?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
over at CNN, and then he
wow.
tried to contest the paternity, and he went to court to contest paternity, and it was found out that no, you are the father. He should have gone on what, Muthy Williams? You are the father.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then just like Hunter.
Right.
Hunter knocks up a stripper, and you know he tries to contest. He said he was too poor to pay child support.
Don't you think the American people can connect these dots? I mean,
I
they're
know.
all on the same side. you
I
know?
know.
It should be obvious, but I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll find out on the 3rd of November.
right. You know, like I mean, the crowds that Trump is drawing, the obvious enthusiasm among his people, and the obvious lack of enthusiasm, and you have more blacks coming out for Trump because of the Biden tax plan. All these rich rappers
50
don't
cents.
wanna pay. Yeah. He's only going to be worth 11 cents if Biden if this tax plan comes through.
At Northern Nevada Family Dental, we are proud to announce a wide range of advanced dental services by way of the Photona Lightwalker Laser. The Lightwalker Laser can efficiently and effectively treat most periodontal problems from deep persistent pocketing to peri-implantitis and a multitude of...
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ.
A Lotus broadcast station.
The power of radio since 1967.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. We're talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre. And so Donald Trump has finally confronted Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's called him out. He said things like, this guy's been there forever.
Well, he's been around the edges on Fauci since this whole episode began.
Right.
But,
I mean, we knew he wasn't happy.
But this was a full frontal assault.
Now he's got him against the ropes. And
because he is a dope. I mean, honest to God.
Well,
he's made so many mistakes. He's errantly described this disease. He's errantly described what we should do about this disease. I mean, he's as plagued with incompetency as anybody in the American bureaucracy.
Right, that's what he is. He's a bureaucrat.
Yeah.
But more than a bureaucrat, he's biased towards big pharma.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to do it by the book. I mean, he first started. Now I don't know whether these people were right, but they were about AIDS. He was accused of favoring, crony pharmaceutical companies to come up with the AIDS drug, and not testifying to not allowing smaller companies to get a fair shake. And this Deborah Birx, she's also subverting him from behind the scenes. She was
subverting Trump. You mean?
Yeah, subverting Trump. Yeah,
these are all just hacks of the establishment that are there to embarrass him. They've thrown everything at him, including COVID. And he gets the disease and he's out of the hospital in 3 days. Isn't that
amazing?
Isn't that perfect?
I know.
I mean, honest to God.
He's out there in the sweltering heat in Prescott, Arizona, about a week after he gets out of the hospital.
Just not a damage at all.
Right.
Beautiful thing.
And meanwhile,
what are we going to do on the 4th of November when this thing is over? I'm not sure.
It won't be over on the 4th, though.
Well, no, but I mean, I think we're going to have some trends that will probably give us a sense of relief about where it's going. But I just think that the aftermath is going to be sort of disappointing. The fun will be gone.
Are all these liberals going to raise their heads to the sky and
now
scream again like when Hillary lost?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're going to activate their forces in the street because they did that, after the last one. So,
it'll be like a policeman being exonerated for shooting a black criminal. It'll be the same thing. If Trump gets elected, Antifa will be out in full force.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And the cities will be burning again. Yeah. So, and then we'll see. Now we'll see. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that. It does turn into a red wave, and we can be pretty assured that what is happening is going to stand up to the, the late ballot counting, all these mail-in ballots and so on.
And that was a development that we needed to get to it somewhere in the course of the show, so maybe this is the time, because the Supreme Court, in a divided court now, because there are only 8 justices, decided to allow Pennsylvania to extend their deadline for 72 hours.
Right.
Following the election day. It's not clear that the voting we've seen so far, some upwards of 30 million have already voted. Whether that means that we won't see much ballot entrants enter after the deadline, it may not have the effect that we anticipate because they've already voted in anticipation of it. But it was, guess who decided it? John Roberts.
Yeah. So he's turning into a real another David Souter apparently. Yeah.
And so I mean, all of the sort of evidence we've seen so far that would suggest that he dislikes Trump is very clear, I think, in this decision. I don't see any reason to extend those deadlines at all.
Right. Yeah. So
they've had how long to get those ballots in? We should let procrastinators vote until what? Valentine's Day? I mean, how long does this?
Yeah, we need some.
There has to be discipline in this.
Right,
process.
there has to be discipline, and we need some closure on this. Although, like you say, it's fun while it lasts, leading up to the day.
It sure is.
So, and the Department of Justice has filed an antitrust suit against Google. And some are saying it's a big deal, and others are saying it's not such a big deal. It appears to be based primarily on what they did to Microsoft. When Microsoft, they went after Microsoft about bundling the browser, Internet Explorer, and paying people to make Internet Explorer the default browser instead of Netscape. Who even remembers Netscape now?
Yeah. I hadn't until you brought it up.
Yeah. So this is basically the same thing. They're saying that Google is paying like Mozilla and other groups to make Google the default browser. But, I can bring it up and I can choose Bing. And, you seem to always get a choice between Bing and Google, or for the most part.
Yeah.
And then you can go to DuckDuckGo or the other browsers if you are, if you really want to avoid because, Google is spying on you.
Well, they do control the results.
Yes.
I've experienced that over and over and over again. Of course, we're on a particular wavelength in the spectrum of political dialogue, so we're looking for things specifically from our search.
Right.
And if you have to dig 3-4 pages in,
yeah,
it's pretty clear what they're doing. They don't want you to discover that.
Right. And some people, it's shadow banning and all the rest of it. There's a commentator on YouTube, Tim Pool, that he gets a lot of looks, hundreds of thousands of people. He puts out 3 or 4 videos a day. He's a fiend for it. But he says that he's been shadow banned by Google. You can't bring up his show. And so hope maybe it'll have an effect, but it doesn't really get to the idea that that they are. It doesn't really get to the censorship. This suit doesn't appear to really confront the censorship. Section 230. Now, the FCC has said that they're going to try to clarify Section 230, but it doesn't really mean what Section 230 doesn't really mean what a lot of politicians think it means. I mean, they're allowed to. They're not allowed to. They're allowed to police their own content. I mean, it's right in the section. And
well, that's if it's a platform.
Right.
They were given exclusionary freedom
to
make those decisions as sort of a gift to build up their businesses in the digital age's infancy.
Right.
And now they've taken it to great lengths and beyond what the intent of Section 230 was allowed to do. To me, it's pretty simple. They're either a platform or a publisher.
Well, according to experts, those words are not even in the law.
No.
They're not even in the section.
No, but by reasonable understanding of the law, perhaps now is the time to place it in the law.
Well, my beef with the whole thing is that all these censorship people that recommend what to censor, that build the algorithms, are stooges for the state. I mean, it's not that they're left or right, it's their status. People like the Atlantic Council, which Burisma funds the Burisma Oil. They fund the Atlantic Council.
Yeah, right.
It's nothing but a NATO front. But they're able to say that you're against NATO, so you're out of here, And that's what I object to primarily, not specifically Republican and Democrat, but all people that have a dissident voice.
Well, this decision on the part of Twitter et al. Was clearly designed to have propaganda effect on the subject matter that the New York Post story. I mean, there isn't any question about what they were trying to do here.
Right.
Nothing ambiguous.
No. I mean, the New York Post, that's why they stepped over the line, because the New York Post, and then they censored Kayleigh McEnany, and who else did they censor? But the New York Post it's a little bit of a tabloid, but it's still a respected publication.
Well, Dr. Paul this morning is questioning whether they will step over that line and actually ban Trump, the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
I think that would not be. I think you talk about shooting yourselves in the foot. I think that would shoot them in the head. He'd just go over to, what's the other one, Parler? That would be a shot in the arm for Parler. We'd never use Twitter again.
Right. That's what some people have suggested he should do, because if you want to break up the monopoly, the best way is competition.
Say it with me again. Competition.
Right. Competition. At one time, for about 15 years at least, Standard Oil, was the monopoly for providing petroleum products. And it was the marketplace. It wasn't Teddy Roosevelt and the trust busters. It was actually the marketplace that broke up Standard Oil, and they just got more competition. They were never invested in gasoline, which became the primary fuel. And they were located in Pennsylvania, and they never bothered to go out to Oklahoma.
Well, the old adage is, if you scratch a monopoly, you'll find the antitrust law underneath it.
Yeah, exactly. Yet people don't realize that.
Destination Midtown. Experience the difference. Reno's premier shopping extravaganza. Everything imaginable.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ.
A Lotus broadcast station.
The power of radio since 1967.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, and my co-host, Leland Faegre. So we're going to talk a little foreign policy again. And, there's a war. There was a truce called, but it's apparently that they're breaking the truce between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And, of course, these are not household names, unless you're a fan of the Kardashians, because they are Armenians.
I'm actually not sure what they even look like. I've heard the names, and I know they're out there.
Well, you don't want to get them angry, or they'll deploy their numerous assets against you.
I see. Okay. Taking notes.
Yeah, but... And it's in the Caucasus Mountains, which separate Turkey from Russia on that side there. And Erdogan is supposedly the one that's instigating this attack. Azerbaijan, it turns out, is a Muslim country, although they're Shia, and Armenia is a Christian country.
Does Iran know this?
Yeah, Iran came out kind of supported Azerbaijan, but I think if push comes to shove, Russia's supporting Armenia. They go back a long ways.
That'll have significant weight.
Yeah. But it also turns out Israel is also involved. There was an interesting fact. Azerbaijan contains a very wealthy town, all by itself, of billionaire Jews. It's called Quirmizi Kasebi.
So they're not millionaires, they're billionaires?
Well, there's at least 4 billionaires
Wow.
and numerous multimillionaires. And they say, Azerbaijan is poor. There's these little villages, and then stuck in the middle of these little villages is this one town. It's 100% Jewish. The only other town like it is called Palm Tree, New York, which must be in Westchester County.
Talk about an impression. Huh?
So this town in Azerbaijan is filled with extravagant palaces and wealthy homes, and it's just stuck there. But the people in it are internationally involved. These billionaire Jewish people are, they travel all over the world with their business interests. So we're wondering what effect they might have on it. But we know that the Israelis are providing 60% of the arms to Azerbaijan, including high tech, and also they've been accused of supplying illegal weapons that have been banned for the use by the UN for use in war. So that gives it a little interesting
Shocking.
thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of Armenians in the Western countries. And of course, they're upset and they're writing to their congressmen. But so far, all the congressmen have done is send sternly worded letters. We'll send a sternly worded letter for you to, just like AOC and the squad sent a sternly worded letter to Joe Biden telling him he shouldn't be promoting so many corporatists to his cabinet.
Right.
So what effect that will have. But the major Russia is called them to Moscow, and they did broker the peace treaty. I mean, a treaty, but it doesn't appear to be longer lasting. But neither side has the firepower to take the other side out. But what's interesting to me, and hopefully to our readers, is that this is just a series of attacks on Russia that just is ongoing. It never stops. We were talking...
Challenging their borders.
Yeah, setting brush fires on their borders.
Right. And making money from the selling of arms on both sides.
Right. And Navalny, Navalny, which...
That enormous threat to Putin.
Yeah, Navalny is a neoliberal whom the West apparently thinks is a major threat to Putin, but he never gets more than 1 or 2% in the elections. And the neoliberals, I don't think they even have a single representative in the Russian parliament, the Duma. But so apparently he parlayed a diabetes attack to an international incident, and it was with the help of the Christian Democrats and the Green Party, who wanted to stop Nord Stream 2 from happening, but that doesn't seem to be working. The EU did meet, but they only sanctioned a few individual Russians that were working on Nord Stream 2. They didn't stop the construction. So again, I think that the Pompeo and the State Department would have liked to have seen Nord Stream 2 stopped. Then we have the whole color revolution against President Lukashvili. And whatever you think about him, he did invite people to come in and observe from the EU. They have a group that observes elections. He invited them to come in. They refused to come in.
See, he made a concession that he shouldn't have, I think.
Yeah.
To hell with the EU.
Yeah. And
is he sovereign or not?
Right. And he may not have gotten 80% of the vote, but there's no way he could have lost the actual election outright to this protest candidate. So, again, it's just constant trouble, stirring up trouble on the borders with Russia. And coincidentally, the Atlantic Council, the Atlantic Council is the think tank that is the arm of NATO. And they
full of CFR people and that, but they're on the Democrat or the left side of the globalist spectrum. Yes.
Right. So they published just this month. They published a story in which they resolved to continue their actions against Russia, and they said that it was what they aimed to do is convince Russia by all all of these actions convinced Russia to comply, basically, with the West, and to go back to the to the NATO. And Putin has said, if you're an ally, if you're an American ally, you're a vassal.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out and said that.
Yeah.
He told Angela Merkel to her face that she did not govern a sovereign state because of all the U.S. troops and everything in Germany.
And also because she is just a nation state among the pan-European arrangement we
Right.
call the European Union.
So NATO, the old saying about NATO is NATO was formed to keep America in Europe, America in, Russia out, and Germany down. And that's exactly, I mean, Germany doesn't have an army of its own, really. Nope. And that's why Macron keeps bragging, even though France is an economic basket case.
The taxpayers send their people off for 6-week vacations because they can't defend themselves.
But Macron constantly uses that to taunt Merkel because France is a sovereign nation with its own army, and poor Germany doesn't have an army. So it's all just constant harassment against Russia. And as we heard from Mr. Clapper over the Biden emails, he said that this is typical Russian, out of the Soviet, he called it the Soviet playbook. So you can't make this up, and we only have a few minutes. But I
ratcheted up the invective there a little bit, didn't you? Yeah.
I would also like to congratulate the Movimiento Socialismo.
It's easy for you to say.
I know my Spanish is not nearly as good as my French, but anyway, they won. Its candidate Luis Arce and the people of Bolivia withstood the military coup that we pulled on them. And they actually held an election finally. It was delayed for a year by the right-wing
we talked about
people
this
that took it over. Right.
Originally on the show.
And they held the election and they won. So they will now, I am sure, ask Venezuela for advice on how to coup-proof its military.
Yeah. Does Elliot Abrams know this?
Yeah, I'm sure he's on his cell phone right now. So, and we don't believe in socialism, but again, we don't believe in mercantilist capitalism. If the people of a country believe they're being exploited by foreign capital in cahoots with right-wing opportunists, they have the right to choose a government that will redress their grievances without being overthrown by the Lima Group or anybody else. So
right, but we intervene for their own good.
Yes, that's what Woolsey told Laura Ingraham. She said, "Do we ever intervene in elections?" She said, "Only if it's for their own good."
Since 1947.
At least 85 times, according to Van Paul. So, whatever, if this is really socialism, or maybe it's South American version of Bolivia first. I mean, we have to give them the opportunity to rule themselves.
Yeah.
And
or they'll never know how to do it.
Right. Exactly. So, hopefully this is a good sign. Venezuela is still alive.
I don't know why I laugh when I hear the word Venezuela, but I do.
Yeah, I mean, they're still functioning. So far, we haven't invaded them.
So far.
Yeah.
But I think Elliot Abrams is working overtime on that.
Yeah. And they had a couple of oil tankers that were hijacked, but that was because they flew under another country's flag. There are oil tankers from Iran that are getting through, so we'll see.
I see where his dance moves, Trump's dance moves at his rallies over YMCA, British People's YMCA, big hit.
Yeah. That's that young gay guy, Rebel, Johnny Rebel or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
The singer. Yeah, he started that.